Hi, guys. Happy Monday. I hope you had a good weekend. If you celebrated Easter, I hope you got a lot of candy and good stuff. If you don't, I hope you just had a good Sunday. Um, and here we are back to Romeo and Juliet. Oh, and then my fifth and sixth period, if you're seeing this on Tuesday, happy Tuesday. And I hope you had a good Monday. So please open your books to page 91. At the end of Act 2, Romeo and Juliet were married. We didn't see the actual vows, like the actual wedding, but that's not a trick. It's not like they, backed out at the last moment. The infatuation and the excitement and all those hormones and adrenaline that are happening as they're making this decision, and they're young, and this is so exciting, is just coursing through, and they feel like they are destined to be together. That's how Act 2 ends, and Act 2 is our most really like romantic and hopeful, with hints of definitely danger, red flags along the way. Shakespeare puts that in. And so, now we move into Act 3, which really within that plot structure is our climax. There's going to be an additional climax too later on, but this Act 3 really has the biggest climax and serves as things are going. We have Tybalt totally out for Romeo for really no good reason other than he's a Montague. Remember, we have Paris who wants to marry Juliet. We have like those side things going on. And right now, the only people who know that Juliet and Romeo are married are Friar Lawrence, and remember, he agrees to marry them because he thinks it will potentially stop the fight. The nurse, because she's helping and is Juliet's confidant, and Romeo and Juliet. I know there was like a messenger that also delivered a ladder, but I mean, that he probably doesn't know everything. He just was like, oh, here's a ladder, okay, or like deliver a message. So it's a very small group that knows that they actually are married. So none of Romeo's friends, and for Juliet, the only friend that we ever meet of hers is the nurse, which shows you also just like how isolated her life is. Okay, so Act 3, Scene 1, Verona, a public place. If you remember from, Act 3, Scene 1. From Act 1, we start the play in Verona, a public place, with the servants fighting. So now we're back in the public place. Act 2 ended, and it was very like intimate and just the two of them. And yeah, Friar Lawrence was there, but now it's bam, we're in this public space. Okay. Benvolio. Okay, so enter Mercutio and his page, which is just kind of like personal assistant kind of person, Benvolio and men. Benvolio says, I pray thee, good Mercutio, let's retire. The day is hot, the capels are abroad, and if we meet, we shall not escape a brawl, for now these hot days is the mad blood stirring. So Act 3 starts, and we have this feeling of unease, of warning. Benvolio is saying, let's get out of here. The Capulets are about, tensions are high, and if we meet them, we're going to get in a fight. So it's better if we just like cool out and get out of here. Mercutio says, thou art like one of these fellows that, when he enters the confines of a tavern, claps me his sword upon the table and says, God send me no need of thee, and by the operation of the second cup draws him on the drawer, when indeed there is no need. Am I like such a fellow? Mercutio, as often, he's teasing Benvolio, and he's like, oh, you're like someone that goes to a tavern, puts his sword on the bar and it's like, I won't need that. And then like after one drink is like, oh, who wants to fight? And of course that's the opposite of Benvolio, and that's why he's teasing him, because he's saying like, oh, you're so quick to fight, which Benvolio is not, and really Mercutio's more impulsive. Now Tybalt is the most antagonist. He is our antagonist, or one of them, and the main one, and he is like really up to fight. Mercutio is impulsive, but it's not usually violent. So far he's more just kind of like a jokester. Come, thou art as hot a jack, and thy mood as in Italy, and as soon moved to be moody, and as soon moody to be moved. And what two? Nay, and there was two such, we should have none shortly, for one would kill the other. Thou, why, thou wilt quarrel with a man that hath a hair more or hair less in his beard than thou hast. Thou wilt quarrel with a man for cracking nuts, having no other reason but because thou hast hazel eyes. What eye but such an eye would spy out such a quarrel? Thy head is as full of quarrels as an egg is full of meat, and yet thy head hath been beaten as addle as an egg for quarreling. Thou hast quarrelled with a man for coughing in the street, because he hath wakened thy dog that hath lain asleep in the sun. Didst thou not fall out with the tailor for wearing his new doublet before Easter, with another for tying his new shoes with old riband, and yet thou wilt tutor me from quarreling? Mercutio is saying, he's saying all these really silly reasons for wanting to fight someone. Like they coughed and they woke up a dog that was sleeping in the street. And again, he's making fun of Benvolio. He's also very full of life and words, and he has so much potential. He's so smart. He's so funny. Okay. And I were so apt to quarrel as thou art. Any man should buy the fee simple of my life for an hour and a quarter. The fee simple, oh, simple. Enter Tybalt, Petruchio, and others. By my head, here comes the Capulets. By my heel, I care not. Oh, follow me close, for I will speak to them. Gentlemen, good den, a word with one of you. And but one word with one of us, couple it with something, make it a word and a blow. You shall find me apt enough to that, sir, and you will give me occasion. So Tybalt rolls up and he's like, I'd like to talk to you. And Mercutio's being very kind of sassy and rude back, like, oh yeah, could you not take some occasion without giving? Mercutio, thou consortest with Romeo. Consort, and here is a pun, because consortus are friends with, that's one way, and then consort is also play music with. So Mercutio again is joking around, but like in a, ooh, yeah, you think you're so smart, Tybalt? And he's like, what do you think we are? Musicians? What dost thou make us minstrels? And thou make minstrels of us, look to hear nothing but discords. Like, you want to hear my music? Yeah, it's full of discords. Here's my fiddlestick, and he'd be like putting up his sword. Here's that shall make you dance, zounds consort. Benvolio steps in, because Mercutio is not making the situation better. He's not diffusing it, and Benvolio wants to diffuse it. We talk here in the public haunt of men. Either withdraw unto some private place, or reason coldly of your grievances, or else depart. Here all eyes gaze on us. Benvolio again steps in and is like, this is not what we should be doing. Remember that the prince has declared that the next fight, whoever starts it will be punished with death. And so Benvolio's like, this is not a good idea. We're in a public place. Let's just stop. Men's eyes were made to look, and let them gaze. I will not budge for no man's pleasure eye. Now Romeo enters onto the scene. Well, peace be with you. Here comes my man. But I'll be hanged, sir, if ye wear your livery. Mercutio is defending his friend's honor too, because when you say like my man, it could also be like using that term as like a servant. And Mercutio's like, he doesn't wear your uniform, and I'll fight you if you say that he does. Mary, go before the field. He'll be your follower. Your worship in what sense may call him man. Romeo, The love I bear thee can afford no better term than this. Thou art a villain. So he says that the best thing he could call Romeo is a villain. That's the best. Romeo steps in. He says, Tybalt, the reason that I have to love thee doth much excuse the appertaining rage to such a greeting. Villain am I none, therefore farewell, I see thou knowest me not. Romeo is not antagonizing the situation. He's like saying, like, listen, like, you greeted me really rudely, but there's a reason that I have to be kind to you and love you. He's just not telling him right then. And of course, that reason is that technically they're a family right now, because Romeo has married Juliet, and Tybalt is Juliet's cousin. And so Romeo does not want to fight, but he's also not clarifying, like, why does he have reason to love Tybalt? So he's not ready to reveal the marriage, but he does not want to fight. Boy, that's rude. This shall not excuse the injuries that thou hast done me, therefore turn and draw. Which, it's like, Tybalt, calm down. What injuries has Romeo done to you? His name is Montague, and he showed up at a party, and, like, it was fine. He didn't, put like a snake in the punch bowl or something. Like, he didn't do much of anything. And here Tybalt's like, "Ooh, I'll get you. I do protest I never injured thee, but love thee better than thou canst devise, till thou shalt know the reason of my love, and so good Capulet, which name I tender as dearly as mine own, be satisfied." Again, he's like, listen, Tybalt, I can't tell you right now, but I don't want to fight, and I like the Capulets, and of course, his wife is a Capulet, but can't say that. Oh, calm, dishonorable, vile submission. Mercutio is disgusted by Romeo not standing up for himself. That's what Mercutio is talking about. He's like, what are you talking about? And remember, Mercutio doesn't know that Romeo just got married to Juliet. Alla Staccato carries it away, and Mercutio gets out his sword. Tybalt, you rat catcher, will you walk? What wouldst thou have with me, good king of cats? Nothing but one of your 9 lives that I mean to make bold withal. And as you shall use me hereafter, dry beat the rest of the 8. Will you pluck your sword out of his pilcher by the ears? Make haste, lest mine be about your ears ere it be out. I am for you. And Tybalt draws his sword. Gentle Mercutio, put thy rapier up, like, stop fighting. Come, sir, your passado. And Tybalt and Mercutio fight. And Romeo turns to Benvolio. Draw, Benvolio, beat down their weapons. Gentlemen, for shame forbear this outrage. Tybalt, Mercutio, the prince expressly hath forbid this banding in Verona streets. And Romeo steps in between them to try to stop them from fighting. Hold, Tybalt, good Mercutio. And Tybalt, under Romeo's arm, stabs Mercutio with his sword. Then Tybalt runs away. Mercutio says, I am hurt. A plague on both houses I am sped. Is he gone and hath nothing? What, art thou hurt? Aye, scratch, Mary, 'tis enough. Where is my page? Go, villain, fetch a surgeon. So Mercutio is such a jokester. There's like never a moment where he's not using his words to like entertain, and he has been stabbed. Tybalt stabbed him with his sword, and when he is reacting to that, is he gone and have nothing? Like, I didn't get him. Where he's saying, a scratch, Mary, 'tis enough. The friends around him don't understand that he really has been hurt. Like, they just think he's joking around. And even in what he's saying, he's joking. Like, it's just a scratch is a scratch, but it's enough. He means it's enough to kill him. But his friends don't react as strongly as you would if, like, your friend had just been, stabbed, because they don't get that he is as hurt as he is. Courage, man, the hurt cannot be much. No, 'tis not so deep as a well, not so wide as a church door, but 'tis enough, 'twill serve. Ask for me tomorrow, and you shall find me a grave man. Even in his, he's about to die. He's using a pun, a grave man, meaning he's going to be in a grave, and then grave also means serious. I am peppered, I warrant, for this world. A plague on both your houses. That's the second time he said that. Zounds, a dog, a rat, a mouse, a cat, to scratch a man to death, a braggart, a rogue, a villain, then fights by the book of arithmetic. Why the devil came you between us? I was hurt under your arm. And that is to Romeo. And he's really grasping at straws here and placing blame. And he's saying, like, Romeo, why did you get between us? I thought all for the best. Help me into some house, Benvolio, or I shall faint. A plague on both your houses. They have made worms meat of me, like a corpse. I have it, and soundly too. Your houses. So multiple times he says, a plague on both your houses. Curses to the Capulets and the Montagues. Now remember, Mercutio is related to the prince. He is not a Capulet or a Montague. He got swept up in this stupid feud that we don't even know the reason for, and we never do, because it doesn't matter. And here is this young man full of life and so smart and so much potential, and his death is so purposeless. Like, he got involved in a fight with Tybalt for really no reason, and here he is, he's going to die. Like, how stupid of a death. It's not like he, it was, like, worth his life. This was so preventable. It was so, didn't have to happen. Romeo says, this gentleman, the prince's near ally, my very friend, hath got this mortal hurt in my behalf. My reputation stained with Tybalt's slander. Tybalt, that an hour hath been my cousin. Oh, sweet Juliet, thy beauty hath made me effeminate, and in my temper softened valor steel. Romeo now is, like, processing what has happened, and he says, like, oh my gosh, Mercutio, my friend, has just been hurt and, killed, and Tybalt is my cousin. And then he says that his love for Juliet has made him soft, has weakened his bravery. Benvolio comes back. Oh, Romeo, Romeo, brave Mercutio is dead. That gallant spirit hath aspired the clouds, which too untimely here did scorn the earth. This day's black fate on more days doth depend. This but begins, the woe others must end. Romeo says that this days, like the bad things that happen today, are going to lead to more bad things. And it's almost like a snowball effect of bad things. Tybalt comes back. Here comes the furious Tybalt back again in triumph, and Mercutio slain. Away to heaven, respectful lenity, and fire-eyed fury be my conduct now. Here Romeo says, get out of me respectful mildness, and let fire-eyed fury dictate how I act. Now, when we let fire-eyed fury dictate our actions, that's when we don't usually make the best decisions. But Romeo feels like he now needs to defend Mercutio's honor. Now, Tybalt, take the villain back again that late thou gavest me, for Mercutio's soul is but a little way above our heads, staying for thine to keep him company. Either thou or I or both must go with him. So there's this switch in Romeo as he's like, I will be navigated with anger, and then he says to Tybalt, either you or I or both of us are going to die. So he's like, I'm going to kill you. Tybalt says, thou wretched boy, thou didst consort him here, shall with him hence. This shall determine that. And they sword fight, and Tybalt falls, which means Romeo stabs him fatally. Romeo, away, be gone. The citizens are up, and Tybalt slain. Stand not amazed, the prince will doom thee death. If thou art taken, hence be gone away. Oh, I am fortune's fool. And he says, I am the plaything of chance or fate. In that moment, he doesn't take responsibility for his actions. He's like, how could this happen to me? Why dost thou stay? And Romeo runs away. Now, this really is the turning point. Once Romeo has killed Tybalt, taken a life, there's no going back. Like Tybalt killing Mercutio, okay, that's bad, but when Romeo decides to kill Tybalt, his marriage with Juliet, or any question of maybe the families getting along and being okay, is thrown out the window. Like, it's not as if Romeo goes around killing people all the time. This is the first time he's killed someone. That sounds so weird. Like, it's just the first time. But, like, once he's taken a life, there's no changing that. This has happened. He is now a murderer, and it's his wife's cousin. I mean, if before this, as I said, like, maybe there was some hope that it would be hard, but maybe the families could accept the marriage, maybe. But now, what are they going to do? Like, over Thanksgiving, they're going to be sitting there, and Romeo's going to say, hey, can you pass the mashed potatoes and remember when I killed your beloved Tybalt? That was crazy, huh? I mean, like, no, this changes everything. This choice that he made, like this, when he said, I'm going to let anger guide my choices, there's no going back. And it will change the course of their lives and the entire play. Okay, we will stop there for today. I'm going to ask you to read the end of scene 1 up to page 101. And then when I see you next, we will get into scene 2. And yeah, I think that I'm also going to have you read scene 2, but I'll put that in the Google Classroom. Okay, guys. Also, please nominate your pets to be Prince or Princess of Verona. I posted that on Google Classroom. I've already had some submissions that are awesome. So take care, and I will talk to you on either Wednesday or Thursday, depending on what period. Okay, bye, guys.